Hello, MS community. I haven't been taping for a while, so I'm super excited to be with you. Today I'm going to make my Thai fish soup, which I make with tilapia. I have 2.5 pounds of tilapia, which I purchased as, looking like a fish and cut up into cubes. So I've got my cubes of tilapia, and then I've got 3 small potatoes about this size. I used 2 red and 1 white, and I also cut up a burdock root that I happen to have with me. And then I had a very large sweet potato, equivalent to 2 medium-sized sweet potatoes, which I peeled and cubed. And then I have a half of an onion, which I cut in cubes as well, slices, however you want to think about it. A small piece of fennel, which I love. And I just happened to have a lemongrass stick, so I'm going to use that as well. So I just want to summarize what I have. I have a half an onion and a small piece of fennel, 3 small potatoes with the skin on, which I cut and cubed, 2 large or 2 medium size or 1 very large sweet potato, which I peeled and cubed, and then, as we said, the 2.5 pounds of tilapia, also cubed. And what I also have for this dish to give it the flavor is a pickled ginger, which I bought already pickled at the fish store. I like to use the yellow kind because the orange one is actually dyed with a synthetic dye. So I use the yellow colored natural pickled ginger. And then I have a can of organic coconut milk, and I use whole organic coconut milk for this meal. And so what I've been doing while I've been talking with you is heating up the olive oil. And I just want to show you that I'm using a decent amount of olive oil. I really like, it's like a, half of a cup of olive oil here in a pretty big pan, but nevertheless, because I love that taste. And now you can see I'm going to put in the onion. And after I put in the onion, and the onion sizzles and is really nice, I'm going to wait just a few minutes. I'm going to put in the sweet potato. Then I'm going to put in the potato. And then pretty soon thereafter, I'm going to put in the fish, although I'm going to probably wait a little while because that yam is going to take a while to cook, and the fish is going to cook pretty quickly. And after all of that is sauteed in the olive oil, the onions, the fennel, the lemongrass, the white potato and red potato, and a couple of sweet potatoes, and then the fish, when they've all sauteed and gotten nice and brown and oily, which I really like, in that oil, I'm going to lower the flame, and I'm going to add 4 to 6 cups of water. Really doesn't matter, it's just how much soup you want. And then I'm going to add the can of coconut milk, and then I'm going to add a decent amount of ginger. And since you're not going to have a chance to watch me prepare this whole thing because it takes a while, I'll just show you that I'm just going to get a big hunk of ginger here, which I really love. And I'm going to put the ginger in at the very end. Now, you have the recipe for my fish soup in your cookbook, in the MS Cookbook, so you don't really need me to tell you how to do it. But I'm going to give you one more lesson in the timing of everything, okay? So the olive oil was hot, and I put in a half a cup of onion and a fennel leaf with lemongrass, and I'm now letting that saute. I'll saute that until it gets brown, which is, just a few minutes. The fire is kind of on low, medium, let's say. And then I'm going to add, in a few minutes, I'm going to add 2 sweet potatoes, which have been peeled and cubed, or 1 large sweet potato, which is actually what I used. Then I'm going to add the white potatoes and the red potatoes. Again, I used 3 potatoes, medium size, and I cubed them. And I let all of that cook in the oil. And the reason that I'm going to let that happen first is because the sweet potatoes take a long time to cook. So the sweet potatoes need to get done before I put in, not done, but almost done, before I put in the fish, because the fish is going to cook fairly soon. I can't give you the time on this because everything takes what it takes, but I would imagine that the sweet potatoes need at least 10 minutes on their own with the white potatoes to get cooked. And then add the fish. And then after you add the fish, let it also saute in the oil. Then add 4 to 6 cups of water, regular water. You could also add chicken stock if you prefer, but I like water. and then a big, then a can of coconut milk. And then as everything sort of gets ready, add a big glob towards the end of the ginger. And also serve extra ginger on the table. Now, as for the seasonings, at any point in the process, and I'm now going to add these sweet potatoes, at any point in the process, you can add the seasonings. I'll probably add them at the point at which I add the fish. But the seasonings are basically the coconut milk, the pickled ginger, salt to taste, pepper to taste, and then with almost everything that I cook, I'm also going to add a hefty amount of turmeric and a small amount of cumin. The measurements are actually in the recipe in the MS Cookbook, so you can find it there. This is called Raquel's fish soup. It's a Thai flavored fish soup. And it takes, it took me about 15 minutes to cut everything up, and it takes about a half an hour to 45 minutes to prepare. And if I may, for just a moment, I'm going to serve it with some pak choy, which is similar to bok choy, which I cut from my garden today. I'm very happy to show you my beautiful pak choy, which I will saute in some olive oil with nothing. And then I'm going to make the curried carrots recipe, which is also in the MS Cookbook. And this is a simple, beautiful recipe. It goes really well with this dish, but it goes well with everything. In this case, you slice the carrots. You can see, pretty, half an inch or something like that, quarter of an inch. And you saute the carrots in olive oil. And then you eventually add, I believe, an onion. And then you smother the whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not describing that correctly. Let me start again. You actually have to steam the carrots first so that the carrots are cooked. So you have cooked carrots, which have been steamed. Takes about 5-10 minutes. And then you add the cooked carrots to saute in olive oil with an onion. And after that, you add a ton of curry. And I mean a lot of curry. Again, the measurements are in the MS Cookbook. Some turmeric, some cumin, salt and pepper. And then at the very end of this curried carrot dish, you add maple syrup, a small amount, and that's what gives it its yummy flavor. So tonight we're going to have fish soup, recipe in the MS Cookbook, curried carrots, recipe in the MS Cookbook, and some delicious steamed pak choy. I wish you a lovely day. I hope you have a great meal. Again, you can see we always cook with colors. We have this beautiful orange, and the orange of the sweet potato, the white of the fish, the greens. Everything's so beautifully laid out. Have a wonderful day.